Well, hello, hello. I hope everyone's having a nice day. As you can see around me, that I do have a camera outside, but I am inside. I'll explain once I get the lesson started the reason for that. There are a few things going on. Let me just check everything. We'll start in about 24 seconds. Sounds like everything is going well. Yeah, looks like we're ready to go in about 10 seconds. So hopefully you're ready to learn a little bit of English. Hopefully you are ready to ask me a few questions and I'll see if I can answer them. Well, hello everyone and welcome to this live English lesson. Today you get to ask me questions and I get to try my best to answer them. As you can see, I am inside. I am inside today because outside, let's go to a nice view of the outdoors. They are predicting a few things. Number one, there is smoke outside. You can't maybe see the smoke right now, but if you look in the distance, normally past the river, you can see some windmills on the horizon, and you can't see them today because there's a lot of smoke in the air from the wildfires. Number two, it's sunny right now, but it's supposed to rain possibly this morning, and I didn't want to be outside with all of my expensive camera equipment only to have it get wet. That would not be good. And if you look at the leaves on the trees, it is a little bit windy. So I thought better be safe than sorry. That's an English phrase we use. Better be safe than sorry. That means I'll safely do the lesson from in my studio/office. I will make sure that I allow you to have good views of the outdoors while we're doing it. But those are the reasons why I decided to be inside today. Hey, I do want to say hi to Lolly Lolly. Dave the Canadian is here. I do want to say happy Canada Day to all of you. I know you are not necessarily from Canada, but it is Canada Day here. Hopefully, Jen and I can go and see some fireworks tonight, although some events are getting canceled because of the smoke. Nice to see Vitor, Edouard, Nazdar. Sita is here. Good to see you, Sita Bittencourt. Freddie Wolf is here as well. Let me scroll back up and see Freddie Wolf, Vitor, Irina, Hafiez is here. Saki, I'm going to say names twice, Like or Ruslan. Many of you are here. No, that is here as well. John from Brazil. Scrolling back, I think I've said a few names. I'm going to miss saying hi to some of you. New Worlds with MP has gifted one English membership. Thank you so much. Has gifted it. I don't know who it went to. How do I find out? Oh, Natalia Illusion was gifted a membership. Very cool. Thanks for doing that. New Words with MP. And Natalia, enjoy your membership. Very cool that you did that. So yes, definitely Canada Day. Definitely time to have an English lesson. I'll spend about an hour. I'll alternate between this view, the boring view, and this view where you can pretend you're sitting on the bench having a relaxing day in the Canadian sunshine. Let me just check one more time to make sure everything is working. Everything is working great. Let's get to the first question. I see a lot of people in the chat. Anno says, happy Canada Day, dear Bob, writing from Brazil. Sunny day in Sao Paulo. Very cool. Happy Canada Day, Bob, from Freddie Wolf. I hope you will be able to take advantage of it. And Danila has joined as a member. Very cool as well. So thank you for the kind greetings and the wishes for Canada Day. But you know how it goes with me. I just want to teach English right now. So let me get to the questions and we will get started. Oh, the questions are rolling in high speed from Renata. Hello, dear Bob. First of all, happy Canada Day. Thank you very much. My question is polyglottery a word? I've never heard it. I've heard the word polyglot. A polyglot is someone who speaks more than 2 or 3 languages. And even if it's not, I like using it. Have a great day, sir. Thanks so much. It does sound funny, doesn't it? Polyglottery. It does have a fun sound to it when you say it. Let's see here. Next question from Mike. Hi, Bob. Could you define these? To bum rush, to bag, and to shove. So bum rush is a weird word. I'm going to look it up. I don't use it very often, but it means, let's see here, to attack or move forward in a forceful way. It's kind of not, it's not really a good word to use because it has the word bum in it. So people sometimes misinterpret it. When you bag something, the only definition I can think of is when someone is hunting, they might bag a few birds, which means they were able to kill them and take them home and maybe eat them. So we use the word bag. If someone goes deer hunting, they might bag a deer, which means they were able to get one. And to shove means to like push someone. When you shove someone, you push them. From Tota, what gives you pleasure? If you could become anybody in your life, what would you have become? So what gives me pleasure is when I'm making something. I'm definitely someone who gets joy out of making stuff. I like making English lessons. I like writing. I don't like necessarily building stuff, but in the computer technical world, I like creating things. I like writing computer programs. I've made a few computer games in my life. I should make a computer game to teach English. Maybe I should talk to Dave about that. I don't know how many games Dave has developed in his program, but anyways, if I could become anybody in your life, what would you have become? I like who I am. So I think I would just be me. I would just live my life over again and I would just be me, I think. Totu says, what is the best part in teaching? Do you like philosophy? So I like teaching French. I like teaching business and I like teaching computer studies. So those are all the best parts. I get to teach things that I like, but at the same time, I would say that I do like philosophy a bit, mostly about education and how people learn. So that's what I would say. So this is from Al or AI. Interesting. Are you religious? And what do you learn from our questions? So am I religious? That's kind of a private question. So I'm just going to move ahead on that one. And what do you learn from our questions? I learn a lot about different countries in the world. I learn a lot about how people live. I learn a lot about what foods are tasty in different countries. And I do need to try some foods from other countries again. I learn a little bit about what it's like to learn a language as other people talk about it. So anyways, back to the religious question. You'll notice I don't talk about religion, politics. I haven't talked about sex on my channel. I try to avoid the topics that are or can be controversial. I like to just keep it me teaching English. Let's put it that way. From Rohan, what was the most depressing moment and happiest moment of your life? How did you overcome it? So that's a tough one. Like my dad passed away when I was an adult already, but he was only in his mid-50s when he passed away. He had a heart attack. So that was really hard. And I think anytime someone experiences loss, in English, that's how we describe that. When you experience loss, when you lose a loved one, when they die, that takes a while. For almost a year, I got up really early every day and went for a walk. We moved to the farm after my dad passed away. And so I would walk a lot and remember him. Happiest moment of my life, marrying Jen, and every time we had another baby. Those are really exciting times for sure. Definitely enjoy that. Cyan, do you think schools were made up to produce factory workers? I don't know exactly. I think schools were designed to educate the population so that they could make wise, logical decisions for themselves, for their family, for their local town, and for their country. So I think schools were designed to help people think logically and critically. Whether they succeed or not, that's another question. I'm not 100% sure whether schools are succeeding. So let me see here. I don't answer questions from the chat, but I do want to read the chat a bit. There are some questions there. I'm an engineer, but ironically, I hate math. So that's from happiest. Interesting, because engineers do a lot of math. I see some good conversations going on here. Let's see here. English with Purushottam says, Dear Bob, let me tell you, you are the best English trainer I have ever seen in my life. Thank you for the compliment. I like to know if it's common in Canada to have good English knowledge as you do. I think so. You know, you have to go to school in Canada until age 17 or 18. You do have to stay in school. And so I think that produces Canadian citizens who have a good knowledge of the English language for sure. Let me get back to the form though. I don't want to answer questions from the chat because people have patiently submitted questions via the form. So I will try to focus on that. From Sela. Hi, Teacher Bob. Happy to benefit from your special lessons. What things, if you do on vacation, make you feel happy? So some corrections there. I like to read. If I go on vacation, I like to read. I like to walk. If I'm in a different part of the world or a different part of Canada, I like to walk and see things. So I think sightseeing would be a popular thing for me. Last time we went to Niagara Falls, we walked a lot, Jen and I, to look at different things. And then Vishwas from the chat, love your content, Bob. Keep up the good work. Thank you. I will do that. From Tank, what is the best thing about conversations or interactions? So I like listening to other people's experiences and I like learning from them. I like hearing when someone has a problem with their car and what they did to fix that. I like hearing when I talked to a few former students this week. I like to hear what they're up to. Like I like to know where are they studying right now and what are they learning. So I think the best thing about conversations and interactions is you get a chance to learn about other people. Okay. From Monitor, pros and cons of optimism and pessimism. So I am mostly optimistic. I am an optimist. I see the glass as half full. A pessimist sees the glass as half empty. So an optimist is someone who has a very positive outlook on life. A pessimist has a more negative outlook on life. Now, I am pessimistic when I'm tired and cranky, okay? The pro of optimism is you start each day thinking some cool things will happen today. One of the cons of optimism is you might be disappointed. One of the pros of pessimism is that you think things might go wrong, and if they do, you're not surprised. One of the cons of pessimism is you sometimes have trouble being thankful for things. That's how I would answer that one. So this I can't answer, Nikita. Greetings. What is the difference between homophones, homographs, homonyms? Give us some examples, please. And sometimes people say homophones, homographs, homonyms. I'm not sure about the pronunciation. So there are words that are spelt the same but have different pronunciations. There are words that have the same pronunciation but different spelling and different meanings. I'm going to get these mixed up. The reason I can't answer this is because I don't always remember what each of these are. So I would need to look them up, and then it would be a pretty long lesson. You're better off looking for a lesson already on YouTube that teaches this. So homophones, I think, sound the same. Homographs are spelled the same. Homonyms have the same meaning. Don't quote me. I could be wrong. Someone in the chat will happily explain what they all are. Let's see here. Nancy from Costa Rica. I learn a lot with your lessons. What's the difference between lay down and lie down? Can you give examples? So first of all, I used these wrong. I think, let's see here. So lay down is used to talk about an item. You know, I can take my phone and I can lay my phone down on my hand. It's a bad example, but I can lay it down. And then if I'm tired, I can go lie down and have a nap. But as a native English speaker, I sometimes say, I'm going to go lay down and have a nap. Technically, I'm pretty sure that's wrong because the dictionary says lay down is to put something down, and then lie down is to place yourself in a position in order to rest or sleep. So sometimes I use the wrong one, and a lot of English speakers do that. Let's see here. This is from Happiest. Yes, I do this on purpose. The shirt you are wearing now is the same as the thumbnail. Feels like Back to the Future kind of phenomenon. Haha. Do you plan that purposely? Happy Canada Day today. Yes. So I pick a shirt the day before I do a lesson, and then I go outside and take a photo wearing that shirt, and then I hang the shirt back in my closet. And then this morning I put this shirt back on again for this lesson. I like the thumbnail and the video to match as best as possible. So yes, I do. It's a little quirk, but I like the thumbnail to match. Henry from Taiwan. Hi, Teacher Bob. What's the difference between declaration, manifesto, and pronouncement? So a declaration is any kind of announcement. You know, there could be a declaration where they introduce a new law. A manifesto is like when you write down your beliefs of how the world should work. And a pronouncement is the same as a declaration, like a very formal, you know, there was a declaration last week that you couldn't have a fire because there was too much smoke in the air. We would actually just call it an announcement. That's probably the most common way to talk about declarations and pronouncements. Let's see here. From Rebaz. Still haven't practiced. Hi, dear Mr. Bob. Happy Canada Day. I'm going to take away the Canadian and put Canada. Happy Canada Day. And today is the last day of Al-Adha feast, the Islamic feast. So I like to hear from you, which means happy feast. So Jastan Parazbi. I hope I said that right. Very cool. I'm always interested in learning about other people's lives and activities. So thank you. From Majed. Hi, Bob. How do you pronounce curl? So I have straight hair. Once when I was in university, I had my hair styled so I had curls. So I used the plural there, curls. I had it, I forget what it's called, but I went to the hairdresser to have my hair. I had a lot of hair and then I had curls. When you curl something, like I can curl up this piece of paper, it means kind of to do this. You see how I'm making it a little bit round? So I can curl the piece of paper. This is fold, right? If I do this, it's a fold, but this is a curl. And a lot of people will curl their hair. There, I've said it a few times. Okay, from the chat, know that's asking Dave if he's a pessimist or an optimist. Great to see you having conversations. Hafiaz says, I'm a pessimist when I'm hungry. Yeah, me too. When I'm hungry, tired, I'm more of a pessimist for sure. Let's see here. From Vitor, thumbs up for the great lesson yesterday about parts. So yesterday I did a lesson on parts. You can watch the full lesson today if you want. There will be a shorter version of the lesson coming out soon in about 12 hours or so, a little more. Maybe, yeah, about 15 hours or so. But anyways, if you are interested, I talked about a lot of different parts, springs and shafts, gears, pulleys, belts, all of that kind of stuff. For some reason, Brent in the chat is saying, I have no hair. Probably because I was talking about curl. That's where that's coming from. I thought, Brent, speak English with this guy. I thought he was just randomly stating things in the chat. But it is related to that we were just talking about hair. There we go. Let me get the next question. Here we go. What do I want here? Questions. The boring question. Lolly. Bonjour. I had to correct Lolly's French. There's a J. Bonjour, Bob. Could you please tell me the difference between delete, erase, and cancel? Merci. So on a computer, if you have something on the desktop and you put it in the trash, we say that you delete it. If you have a file on a computer, you can delete the file. On my YouTube channel, sometimes I upload a test video and then later I delete it. So delete is very much a computer kind of thing. I use the word erase to talk about the whiteboard in my classroom or a chalkboard when I use the eraser on it, okay? Or if you're writing with a pencil, I don't have a pencil here, this is a pen, and then you use the eraser on the end to erase. So that's when I use erase. You can erase stuff on your computer. We don't really say that. Delete's very much. Cancel is simply like if I order something, I can cancel the order. That means I don't want it anymore. If I was to order something from Amazon, within an hour, I can go back and cancel the order. If I'm signing up for something on the computer and I'm halfway through the sign up, I can click cancel and decide not to sign up. So hopefully that helps a bit. Brent says, my inner monologue sometimes seeps out. I have that problem too. Definitely. I think teachers tend to talk a lot and sometimes talk too much. From Unsel, we have, hi, dear teacher Bob. Happy Canada Day. What kinds of events are held on Canada Day? Have a great day. Love from Istanbul. Bye. So Canada Day, generally people will go to a park in their local town and there might be music. There will definitely be fireworks. Although this year, because of the smoke, let's go to River Cam. Again, normally, if you look at the bench and then follow the bench all the way to the horizon, normally there are windmills, big windmills that you can see, but the air is quite smoky today, so you can't see them. So what's going to happen is some of the fireworks have been canceled. Some of the outdoor events have been canceled. But normally you would go to your local town and at your local park, there might be a magic show. There's a magic show in my town tonight. Last year, there were people who did juggling with fire, like they juggled things that were on fire. And then there's usually a live band of some kind. So tonight, we might go see a live band. We're not sure yet. We'll see whether it gets canceled or not. Dave says, I think it rained last year in Canada Day too. Yeah, last year we went to see a live band. I guess all bands are live. We went to see a concert and it was supposed to rain and it didn't. So it was really easy to find parking and really easy to enjoy the show. Let's see here from Olivia. Hi, I'm Olivia from Brazil. My question is, how many languages do you speak and how many kids do you have? So I speak 2 languages. I speak English et aussi je parle français. So I speak 2. English is my native language. Et puis le français, c'est quelque chose que j'ai appris à l'école. So French was something I learned at school. Mais aussi, j'ai habité à Québec il y a 25 ou 30 ans. It's been a while, actually. I did live in Quebec for a little while, almost a year, when I was in my early 20s. So those are the 2 languages I speak. The reason I teach English on YouTube, I am a French teacher during the day. I teach English on YouTube because I think it's easier for French people to teach French on YouTube. So that's why I teach English. I use all of my knowledge for teaching French to teach English. Hopefully that makes sense. Like I know how to teach all of the different parts of a language. So I just use English as the one that I do teach. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's see here. Let me check something. I'll give you guys a view of the outside. Maybe I'll take my face off of it for a second. You'll get a pure view. And then let me just check something. Okay, let me see here. I was actually just secretly having a sip of water. I don't know if you noticed that. This is from Constantine. Good to see you. Hello, Mr. Bob. Please explain the expression gilding the lily. Greetings from Russia. So I think this means to like remove the part of something that isn't helpful. It's like pruning. We don't use this phrase a lot. It's a pretty rare phrase. I should look it up. Give me a second here to look it up. Gild the lily. Try to improve what is already beautiful or excellent. Okay, there you go. So it's to add unnecessary decoration to something that is already beautiful. Okay, so don't listen to my first explanation. Again, we don't use this phrase much, but it means to make something look nice when it's already really, really nice. Let me see here. Mode Ags is here. Hi, Mode. Good to see you. Mode says, hello, awesome people. What did I miss? Not much. We miss you, though. So you didn't miss much, but we missed you. That's how I would phrase it. Okay, let's see here. From Paul. Hello, Teacher Bob. My question is how to overcome the accent that I am not familiar, especially in the working situation. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. So there's two things about accents. Either you're having trouble making sure you speak clearly. Perhaps you're having trouble reducing your accent a bit, in which case I would say simply keep working at it. Do make sure that you have sample audio and you record yourself speaking and then compare the two. The second thing you might be asking is maybe someone you're talking to has a very thick accent. That's how we describe it in English. I don't want to make fun of anyone, but if I was to speak with a bit of a Dutch accent, so when I was a kid, very many people talked like this. So when I was a kid, a lot of older Dutch people had a very thick accent when they spoke English. Sorry, I didn't mean to offend anyone from the Netherlands, but that's how my grandparents and many older people sounded to me. And so asking people to slow down is the best way, just to politely ask them. So if you're having trouble with your accent, practice that by recording yourself and comparing. And if you're having trouble understanding someone with an accent, ask them to slow down a bit. I hope that helps, Paul. Let's see here. Okay. This is a tricky one to answer. Hello, dear teacher Bob. What are the differences between last, latest, the last, and the latest? Let me figure that one out first. So when you're last, if you're in a race and there's 10 people and you are the 10th person to finish, you are last. If there are 20 cookies in a bowl and someone eats 19 and you take the one that remains, you're eating the last cookie. Okay, so it always refers to whatever is left. Latest would mean, I think of this in terms of like stuff. I don't have the latest camera. There's a newer version. If I wanted to buy the latest version of my camera, I could, but I don't need it because this camera is amazing. Let's see, will it focus? Well, maybe it's not amazing. Maybe it won't focus anymore. Hopefully I'm in focus. So I think I am. Let's try something here. Now Bob's all worried that his camera's not focusing. Nope. The camera has decided not to focus. And then when I turn it off, then weird things happen, right? Let's try that for a sec. Cleans the sensor. And then when I turn it back on, it doesn't come back on right away. Let's look at the river cam while Bob plays around with getting his camera working again. I know we did this once before, and then I think Dave was like, oh, maybe you shouldn't have turned it off. Anyways, there I am. Now will it focus? Yes, look at that. It does focus. Now I've totally forgotten what the question was. Oh yeah, I don't have the latest camera. The last and the latest. So you eat the last cookie. I came in last in the race. I see what you're saying here. Sometimes we have the and sometimes we don't. Like I was the last one to finish. I came in last. I ate the last cookie. Yeah, I'm going to have to research that one a bit because it's automatic for me, right? I don't have the latest camera, but I could buy the latest camera. Yep, I don't know, Nima, exactly why we do that. I will have to try. Dave in the chat says it worked. Yes, I did a test a couple weeks ago, Dave. I realized when I reset my camera, I just have to wait a little bit. Don't panic. Is that from The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? I think so. Anyways, from Daniel. Hi, Bob. I'm from Brazil, and I have a trip to Montreal in October. Please give me 3 places I should visit. Thanks. I don't know a lot about Montreal. In fact, maybe I can answer this better in a few weeks because someone in my family is going to Montreal. No, I've only been there once, and I was in high school. I do know Quebec City a little better, but I don't know Montreal enough to give you advice. You're on your own, Daniel, with that one. You'll have to figure it out. Vitor in the chat says, I always feel worried when Bob touches his camera. Yes, that I might knock something off or it might fail. I would have to just run outside and use this camera, I guess. I'd have to try and teach the lesson. Yeah, I'm feeling bad. It does look pretty nice out there. It's not raining. but it is smoky. Let's see here. From Yaneth, we have, there are 3 things that I have learned never. Never to discuss with people: religion, politics, and the great pumpkin. What do you call these kinds of phrases? Well, I think that's a phrase from Linus from the comic strip Peanuts, possibly. But they would be wise words for life. That's what I would say. But I'm not sure. They might have another meaning. Lynn. Hi, Teacher Bob. Is it polite to ask someone, have you been married in Canada? Thanks. So that's interesting. You know, there's different stages of knowing someone. When you first meet someone, you would not ask that question. So when you first meet someone, you don't ask really personal questions. This is pretty common around the world, I think. And it depends on age as well. Like my mom would ask someone that question. Like she's in her 70s and she just asks people things now, but it's not considered polite. If you know someone for a while, like I work with people, after we've worked together for half a year or a year, you might start to ask questions like that, but you would still only ask the question if you know the person well. Like you have lunch together in the lunchroom at work, and you start to talk about your lives a bit more. So yeah, it's tricky to know when it's polite to answer questions. Freddie, le gars d'outre-mer. I'm not sure if that's the right word. Freddie, the overseas guy. Or, yeah, le gars. Anyways, bonjour, Bob. I'd like to know how to respond to, I don't speak French. Is it me either, or me neither, or neither do I? Merci beaucoup de mettre de l'ordre dans ma tête. You can say all of them, and I don't know which is correct. But if I say, I don't speak French, and someone says me either or me neither, or neither do I, yeah, you'll hear, they're all informal. I don't know which one is actually correct, but in an everyday informal English conversation, you could use all 3 and you would be fine. Let's see here. Where are we at? Oh, it's members only chat time. Here, have a view. That's not the river, that's my room. Although there is a tiny picture of the river back here. Here, have a view of the river while I set up members only chat. Let me find the right buttons to press here. Members, there we go. And as I do that, let me just say this. I really, really appreciate all of my members. It makes it more enjoyable to get to know the people who support my channel. Like, it's nice to see familiar faces when I do a live stream. We're going to move into members only chat now. If you are a member, you can ask a question directly in the chat and I will answer it. If you're not a member, please stick around. We're going to go for another half hour or so. And if you're not a subscriber, if you're one of the 348 people watching and you're not subscribed, do click this button. I think there's one there. If not, there's one somewhere that says subscribe. And you can click the join button and it will explain what happens if you join. You get your name in green, a crown by your name. You can, during live streams, you can participate in members only chat. You get an extra video on Wednesdays, all of that. But here we go. From Zhenglong, nice to meet you here. You are very kind. Nice job. I try to be kind. I do remind people quite often, though, that on the internet, you always see the happy side of everyone. I am just a normal human being. I do not record the moments where I'm yelling at my dog because he's chewing on my shoe. I don't record. I don't know how I would describe this. You only see happy Bob, and I am happy most of the time, but obviously I am a normal human being. But I do try to be kind as much as I possibly can. Ala says, I am fluent in English. I want to learn either French or German. What do you recommend? Depends how old you are and what will be the most useful to you in life. So I am a very practical person. I like learning things that will help me. I don't often do things just for the joy of it. So if you know that you want to study in France, or you know that you learning the French language would help you do business with people in France or Belgium or Quebec, then learn French. If you know that German will be an advantage, then learn that. Maybe someone in your family speaks French or German, and you think it would be fun to have conversations with them, learn the language that they speak. Maybe there's someone you're interested in romantically who speaks one of those two languages, and maybe you want to learn a bit to impress them. So I would learn the one that has the most value to you. That's what I would say. Modag says, me neither, and neither do I, are the grammatical ones. If you want to use either, you'd say, I don't speak French either. Ah, yes, good point. You would mention the topic or subject of the conversation. I don't speak French either. Lolly says, sorry for the typo. It was bonjour, of course. Yes, it was the first time I corrected an actual French speaker. So I was pretty proud of myself for seeing the typo. Let's see. Mode says, either is always preceded by a negation in the same sentence. Yes, good point. Yaroslav says, hi everyone and the wisest teacher Bob. Missed you all. Happy Canada Day. Thank you. What questions are not allowed in Canada when you don't know the person? Thanks a lot. So I did a lesson on this. I did a lesson on questions you shouldn't ask. But instead of thinking about questions you shouldn't ask, think about what would be polite questions, like how are you doing today? Where do you work? What brings you here? All of those kinds of questions are very light. But when you start asking questions like, are you married? Do you have any kids? I guess the do you have any kids would be okay. Like if let's say Brent and I had never met, and then we were just both buying gas and we're just having a conversation, because I would be able to see Brent is around the same age as me. And if he had a wedding ring on, I might say, oh, do you have any kids? And that would be a totally fine question to ask. So you kind of have to look for the clues for sure. Mode says preceded. Lolly says, hello, Yaroslav. Brent has decided to say happy Canada Day with Livestream Fun. Thank you very much for using your chat to say that. Mode says, ton français est pas mal. Haha, your French isn't bad. And Yaroslav says, long time no see to Lolly. I hope you are doing well. Awesome. Let me get another question over here, and I'll answer that while I wait for a few more member questions. Manuel says, hello there from Peru, Bob. I have a question. What is the difference between withstand, stand, put up with? Can you use all of these with the same meaning? No, not really. I'm trying to think. Like the windmills that you can't see, they can withstand very high winds. So we can have 140 kilometer an hour winds and the windmills won't be damaged. My bench, though, cannot withstand very strong winds. If it's more than 30 or 40 kilometers an hour, it blows over. So withstand is, it kind of means how well made something is. Let's get the official definition. Meaning of withstand. To remain undamaged or unaffected, right? So yeah, like my camera is outside right now, but it can't withstand a strong wind. So if it gets too windy, it'll blow over. And then let me get the other questions up here. Stand, yeah. So stand simply means if you can sit or stand as a human, but you can also stand things up. Like I decided to stand my camera up outside. So definitely different. To put up with is between people. Like I put up with a lot of talking in my classes. I don't mind if students talk. I put up with it. That means I don't tell them to stop. As parents, Jen and I sometimes put up with some bad behavior. It means we don't get annoyed about it from our kids. We just let it happen and we're like, well, kids will be kids. What's the big deal? So anyways, those are the three definitions that come to mind for me. Let's see. Lolly says, haha, tu crois, Modeg. That's a hard word for me, Lolly. Crois, the R. C'est très difficile pour moi. Crois, je crois, croyez, croire. Very, very hard for me to roll that R properly. Brent says, when I first meet someone, the first question I ask is, how much money do you make a year? That is not the first question you ask. Although I've been asked that a lot. It's kind of a funny thing. You're kind of like, oh, enough to get by. No, that says, hello, Mr. Bob. Have you changed your fitness tracker again? Right wrist. Thanks for your great work, sir. Yes. So as you know, I don't like having, there's like a fitness band tan. You can kind of see it, right? So if I wear this on this wrist too often, then I have this little white streak on my wrist. So I put it on my right hand every once in a while. I was out walking early this morning though, so I don't think I got much of a tan there. I think I'm getting a bit. Yeah, you can see. So I do always wear a shirt outside. This is normal color Bob. This is summer color Bob. And you can probably see it in my face a bit too. Yeah, that I'm starting to get just a bit tan. I don't like to get too tan. The sun is not good, right? So, but I do naturally get a bit of a tan in the summer. Let's see. Lolly says, I'm doing well. Thanks, Yaroslav. How about you? Great. Thanks. Awesome. Let me get the next question from the form. So from Abdi Kafi. Hi there, Bob. Do you like to go for a stroll or a chatty hangout with your kids or your family? Oh, like, are you more? Yeah, okay. The view outdoors is magnificent. Also looks like a blustery day. Yeah, it is a bit windy. You can see. So that's not the tree I normally sit under. The leaves on the far, your right, that's the tree I normally sit under. So it's a little windy out there, a little blustery. Depending on my mood, I do like going for a walk by myself. I don't listen to music very often, although I think I might start listening to a podcast when I walk. So it really depends. Like, I do like sitting around having breakfast with Jen and our kids and talking. But sometimes I like to just hang out by myself. Okay, let's see here. No, that says to Brent, great question for the first meeting. Yes, there we go. Let me get to, by the way, the form is up. If Dave wants to share the link, I'm down to about 5 questions and we still have about 20 minutes to go. So if you have questions, you should put them in. I am going to turn off members only chat. Give me a moment here. And once again, thank you so much for being members. You guys are awesome. Again, I do like seeing the names there. I should do a little audio check since I have a bit of time. Yes, it's working great. Awesome. Okay, let me see here. From Orman. Hello, Mr. Bob. Happy Canada Day. Once again, I'm just going to make sure my camera. Can you tell us the meaning of tree hugger? So a little fix there. Can you tell us the meaning of tree hugger? Or, sorry, can you call someone a tree hugger if they are an environmentalist? Yes, but not to their face necessarily. So if you were to say to someone, oh, you're a tree hugger, they might think you're insulting them. If I say I love the environment, I'm a tree hugger, that's a positive use of the phrase. So it's, yeah, it's a tricky one. Sometimes things can seem innocent, but can be taken the wrong way. In English, when you take something the wrong way, someone said it and they thought it was nice, but you interpret it as being not very nice. Sometimes I read comments below my videos and I read it a second time. If it sounds rude, I often read it a second time because maybe I took it the wrong way. Because many of you are just learning how to use English well. You don't intend to say something offensive. So it doesn't happen very often, like 1 in 1,000 comments, but I always read it a second time just in case the person actually meant it in a nice way. That can happen sometimes. Buddy says, do Canadians really say about rather than about? So I say about. That's how I say it. You know, this morning I was about, yeah, let me put it a different way. I'm about 5'10". I'm about to answer a question. I'm having trouble thinking of sentences with the word about in it, but that's how I say it. When it's raining outside, I put on my boots. I like to put a boot on each foot. But when I go out and about, so it is different. It's not like a boot. Like I wear shoes and I wear boots. I put a boot on my left foot and then I put a boot on my right foot. But this morning I was out and about. I was almost late for this lesson, by the way. Let's see here. Happiest doing anything for 4th of July? Yeah, it's cool how Canada has a holiday and America has a holiday, and it's usually the same weekend. We just go on the 1st and they go on the 4th. Very cool. Okay, let me see here. From Lim. Good morning, Mr. Bob. Could I please share the meaning of biding someone's time and the root word verb for it? Oh, when you bide your time, yeah, it's kind of like you're waiting. Let's get the official definition. Biding your time. To wait for. Yeah, so I was just biding my time. Like I sat in the parking lot waiting for my brother to arrive and I was just biding my time. Let's find an example sentence. Example sentence. Let's see here. He's just biding his time until a permanent job opens. So he's working at McDonald's. So again, it's like you're waiting for something to happen or change. Let's see here. Fernando in the chat. Hey, Bob, how you doing? Congratulations for your classes. You are so good. Greetings from Guatemala. You're welcome. Yes, I'm done teaching for the year. In fact, when this live stream is done, it will be like I'm really on summer holidays. I was actually done this past Wednesday, but we had market on Thursday and I had a bunch of just little things to do for work yesterday to wrap up the year. It's a good use of the word wrap up. But now I am completely done. Let's see here. From Nikolai. Hello, Bob. Have you ever played Dota 2? So I played League of Legends a lot. I played Dota 2 a little bit. Dawn of the Ancients, is that what it is? What is the meaning of Dota? Meaning of Dota. It's a video game, by the way. Defense of the Ancients. Sorry, my bad. It's a video game, by the way, if you're wondering about this question. So yeah, I can't say which one I liked better. I wasn't very good at either. Neither is my type of game. So yes, I did play it just for a little bit a couple of years ago in the winter, but not recently at all. Let's see here. From Mode, missed you too. Hi, Mode. Just testing your special effects skills. What do you get when you cross an angry sheep and an angry cow? You get two animals that are always in a bad mood. Happy Canada Day. So that was my sound effects. That's what SFX, sound effects. So the joke is that sheep say ba and cows say moo. And so when you cross an angry sheep and angry cow, you get two animals that are always in a bad mood. And my special effects or sound effects aren't that great today. So let me see here. Hey folks, so rare thing has happened. I have answered all the questions, but I don't want to stop live streaming yet. So I'm going to keep going. I think I've answered 38 questions. That's fewer questions than normal. So, and there are quite a few people watching, 338. So if you have a question, please ask it and I will answer it. I'm going to have a sip of water and then I'm going to answer some questions straight from the chat. And then I'll go back to the forum in about 5 minutes. So let's see here. From Buddy, Bob, what's your favorite English accent? I do like the Irish accent and I do like the South African accent. They both have a really nice sound to them. But I think I like all of them. The Australian accent, New Zealand accent, that's a cool accent too. Slightly different than the Australian accent. Like Taika Waititi and those guys. Jermaine, is it Jermaine Clement? No, I can't remember their names. Flight of the Conchords. Yes, I do like the New Zealand accent. Scottish is pretty cool, Scottish accent. So I think I like all of them. But yeah, the South African accent is very subtle and has some really nice tones and sounds to it. Let's see here. Hi, hello, 100 from the screen did not flash up timely. Oh, I think everything's working well. Yes, looks like it. Happiest is repeating the joke. Ichi says, I love Canadian English accent. Happy Canada Day. So the funny thing for me is I can't actually hear the Canadian accent because it just sounds normal to me. That's the weird thing about accents, right? Your own accent is not something you could hear. Gabby says, Dear Teacher Bob, could you explain the difference between although, though, or even though? Can you use them interchangeably? No, you can't do that. So although, let me see here. Well, don't quote me on it. I did the lesson inside, even though the weather was nice. So that's an example with even though, okay? I drove my van even though it was out of gas. So I took a chance. So it's kind of like you're presenting 2 points. But although the weather forecast was bad, I still went for a walk this morning. So even though the weather forecast was bad, I still went for a walk. I think when you start the sentence, you can use although or even though interchangeably. But though is something you always use, like, I use it at the end of a sentence a lot. Like, it's important, though, that you eat your vegetables. You should eat your vegetables, though. Yeah, you're going to have to find a better lesson. I just gave a few example sentences. Hopefully it helps you kind of hear the difference. Dave should probably put Mo in a timeout for that joke, possibly. Leonardo. Oh, wait. Doug says, Bob is working Canada Day. Awesome. Yeah, this isn't really work, though. This is fun/work for me. My Fitbit just said I need to get up and walk, but I'm going to have to wait for a bit. Let's see here. Leonardo. Hey, Bob. Happy Canada Day. What is the correct use of the word though? You know, I'm going to have to do a whole lesson on this, aren't I? Though, even though, although, though. Yes, I'll do a lesson. I'll do an actual formal lesson on that at some point. Bear, which city are you currently living in? What do you think is the best part of it? I live in the country. The closest city to me is Hamilton, Ontario. What I like about Hamilton is it has everything that I need. So it has a movie theater, it has shopping malls, it has everything. Danny says, I do learn a lot with you, Bob. I'm glad we have you here. Greetings from Guatemala, and God bless you, Bob. Thank you very much for that. Mode says, how's flower farming going this year? It's going well. We've gotten, since I've made the videos a while ago about it being really dry here, we have gotten some really nice rain. We've actually gotten over 2 inches of rain in the last week and a half. So everything is very green and lush and growing well. And it makes my job easier because I'm in charge of irrigation. So school has ended and I don't have to go out and water a lot of flowers. Hafia says, I've been to Northern Ireland, love their accent. They have like a sing-songy rhythm. Yes. Andre, difference between stuff and things, please. I should do a lesson on this someday as well. I have a lot of things in this room. I have a lot of stuff in this room. So in some cases, you can use them interchangeably, and they are kind of like a general usage word. Like I brought someone to the airport the other day. When I picked them up, I could say, do you got all your things? Do you have all your stuff? I could use them interchangeably. Fabricio says, the best teachers ever. Bob and Brent speak English with this guy. Yes, go watch Brent's channel a bit. He is fun to watch. I watch Brent for enjoyment. That's why I watch. When he goes to some hotel somewhere, then I watch his video. Mode, yeah. When I first started watching Mr. Bob, I could easily recognize his accent from out and about. Now I'm too used to it that I barely even notice it, and I probably say it too. Yeah, I think that's what happens, right? You adapt somehow in your mind to what you're hearing the most. Let's see here. Okay, let me get back to the form. I'm sure there's 1 or 2 questions left, and then we will wrap this up. Maybe you know that. I know that. Hi, Mr. Bob. A personal question. What life advice did you give your children as a child, and would you still give them today? Thanks in advance. I'm often telling my kids, if they have a big thing to do, like schoolwork, to start early and do a little bit every day. I do this a lot myself. I used to, a long time ago, leave things till the night before or the last minute. But now, like, here's an example. I had to write report cards. And on the report cards for students, you have to write a paragraph for each student. And I had to write 54 of them. So I started 5 days before it needed to be finished, and I wrote 10 a day. So I'm often telling my kids, start early on stuff. It's just way nicer. And then the second thing I keep telling them is always be on time. I think that's a skill that is slowly disappearing in life. Let's see here. Let's see. I'm just looking at the chat for a sec. Adriano says, I like your class. I live in Minas Gerais, Brazil. Very cool. Very cool. From Andre Padrol. Hi, Mr. Bob. What do you think about Google? Its ban to Canadian news. I think Google is just, we would say, posturing or just making a point. I think the Canadian government made some very strict laws that maybe don't make sense, because I find sometimes, I know I have gray hair, I find when older politicians make laws about technology, they don't always know how it works. So Google and Facebook have just said, well, we just won't put links for news on. But I think if it goes the same direction as Australia, which did something similar, you'll see Google and Facebook making deals with media companies, and it will all be fine. Let's see here. Let me get to the forum. From Giselle, how long to stay do you think to speak English a little better? I am on level A2. Thanks, Bob. So my feeling is, and this is just a number, but I think it takes about 6 months to get to each level. So I don't know if you can get to C2 in 3 years, but I think you can get to A1 in about 6 months, A2 in about 6 months, B1 in about 6 months, maybe a year, B2 another 6 months or a year. I think that going from A1 to C2 requires living in a country where people speak it when you get to the C1, C2 level, or doing a lot of online training with someone. But you can quickly get to A1 in any language. Like you could do it in 3 months. 6 is probably going to be a bit more thorough though. But that's what I would say. Yes. Yeah. And that would mean spending significant time. Like we're talking 1 to 2 hours a day, 5 or 6 days a week. So that would be important. Leonardo says, be on time is a matter of respect. Everyone should do it. Yes. Although some people really have trouble being on time. I'm pretty proud of this, but I have started my live streams pretty much on time, 99% of the time since I started. I love starting exactly on time. It makes me happy when I start on time. Let's see here. That's why we call him the wisest teacher. Yeah, thank you. No, that says, thanks for answering my question. I'm just kind of skimming the chat here. Let's see here. I think I'm going to wrap this up. Garov at the bottom though says, can I use ChatGPT for my English practice? Yes. So here's a great way to use ChatGPT. If you want to learn 10 new words on ChatGPT, say, write a story using these 10 words. And then it will write a story using those 10 words, and then you'll be able to read them in context. I really should make a video about how to use ChatGPT to learn English. A lot of people have done it already, so it's not like you guys are missing out. Freddie Wolf says, I listened to a French native speaking person who has been living in the US for 25 years, and I noticed that she had an American accent when she speaks French. It was amazing. Yes, that does happen. The backwards accent, where if I went and lived in Quebec for 20 years, then when I come home and speak English, I'm going to start to sound like I'm going to start using some French constructs in my sentences, even though I'm speaking English. Not everyone has that, but it can happen. Mode says, in my eyes, à mes yeux, C2 level is not useful for everyone. Here's what I think. B1 is very useful. Useful for travel, useful for studying in another country. A1 and A2. A1 is great for fun. It's fun to get A1. A2 is a little more serious. B1 and B2 are very useful language levels in terms of getting a job, studying in another country. I do not have my C1 French or my C2, but my understanding is you are very much broadening your knowledge of the language into areas you might not need when you go to C1, C2. So it's really up to you, but that's good. That's a good point, Mode. I would agree. C2 is not useful. C1 would be amazing, though. Let's see here. Technical difficulties don't count, sir. Okay, I could be late when I have technical difficulties. Hey, I think I'm going to wrap this up. Let me just read through the chat. Have you tried ChatGPT? Yes, that's from Hanadi. Yes, I have. Yaroslav, I am B2. I guess that's enough for me for now. Yeah, don't stop challenging yourself, though. You should definitely keep pushing it. Vitor says, I'm fluent in my native language. That's good. Sabit says, hello from Pakistan. Freddie says, c'est déjà fini. Ça passe trop vite. Thanks a lot for all. Au plaisir et de te revoir. Same to you. So Fabricio, how about your French? Still studying. So my plan this summer is to so I did Duolingo French from beginning to end about 5 years ago, but they've really changed how much is available. So I'm going to redo the whole thing again because we use Duolingo at school. That's like students do about 20 minutes a week of Duolingo. And I'm not familiar enough with it anymore. So I'm going to redo it from start to end. And I do watch a lot of French TV and listen to a lot of French music in the summer. So I will be doing that. Actively studying. Yeah, like I'll be speaking French une fois par semaine avec mon ami en France. I'll be speaking about 30 minutes once a week with my friend in France. We took a break because I was a little busy, but yeah, you got to keep practicing. It's not like riding a bike. Anyways, I'll leave you with a view of the river. I am going to, let's go back here. I'll wave goodbye. Bye, everyone. Have a great day. It has been fun. Let me just double check. There are no more questions. Let me give you a beautiful view of the river while I just say goodbye to everyone. So I'll remove my face from the corner. Let's see here. Bye to, I'm just scrolling over to the other screen. Sita says, find me at Duolingo. I will do that. No, that says, Mr. Bob, thanks for the great lesson, sir. Enjoy your day and the fireworks later. Greetings to Jen. I will say hi for you. Sita says, I'm there, Bob, on Duolingo. Cool. Vitor says, thanks, Bob. Yaroslav says, bye, everyone. Dave, thanks for moderating the chat. That was awesome. I have to put my face up in the corner because I was going to point to something, and now I can't remember what I was going to point to. Oh, well, that's how it goes sometimes. You forget things. Li Ping says, have a great day from China. You too. Hafia says, Bob, bye. Lolly says, bye. Bye to both of you as well. Bye to Nightbot. Bye to Buddy. Bye to Mode Eggs. Mode says, how about you call it a day, Mr. Bob? You were so fast to finish all the questions early, so ending the live early is like your reward. Yes, I will enjoy the rest of my morning. I had a small breakfast and Jen had a small breakfast, but we're going to have a second breakfast at 11. I guess 1 minute ago. I should really wrap this up. Anyways, bye everybody. Have a great weekend. You are all awesome.